My name is Daniel Ronan. I'm a co-founder of UAVaid. We specialise in unmanned air vehicles, so UAVs, better known as drones, and a lot of our focus historically has been on global development applications in the developing world. And that actually founded a lot of the core as to where the principles behind SeaWatch came from, where we're looking at improving coastal surveillance and coastal monitoring across a wide range of applications. Project SeaWatch combines two frontier technologies, drones, UAVs, and artificial intelligence processing. And by blending the two together, we're looking at developing a new type of solution or an improved solution for coastal monitoring by air. Project SeaWatch represents a significant opportunity for particularly governments, NGOs and agencies to provide coastal surveillance which potentially they wouldn't be able to afford, or they'd be too thinly spread out to be effective. So we're able to gain the cost benefit of having a drone versus a manned aircraft, and then by integrating the artificial intelligence into the camera systems that are on board the drone to automate that search process, it allows us to then reduce the technical footprint and obviously the cost footprint as well. So we're able to automate so much more. What this will allow us to do is to potentially monitor with ongoing surveillance large stretches of coastline at a significantly lower cost, where our estimates are in excess of an order of magnitude cheaper than the equivalent manned aviation solution.
My name is Charles Smith. I'm Chief Commercial Officer at Archangel Imaging. Our role within the SeaWatch project is as a partner to deliver the artificial intelligence that we put on board the drone to allow the platform to do the coastal monitoring and automate the processes involved in identifying vessels, comparing those vessels to the AIS database and alerting the user of any vessels that are sailing without broadcasting AIS. We use machine vision to automatically look for and identify boats in the water. So as the aircraft flies over the water, the cameras are looking down when they see a vessel. It will look at that vessel, it will identify it as a boat. It will then look at the AIS database and it will compare where it sees a boat to where boats are reporting. And then our Cerebella platform will then do that comparison, and anywhere where there's a dark vessel, so something that's sailing without broadcasting, we assume therefore that that is sailing illegally, most likely illegal fishing or something like that. And then that will send an alert to the user via Cerebella, and it will pop up and say, alert vessel spotted. And that will provide a short video feed, an image clip, and an alert to the user. The user can then review that footage and then make a decision, and obviously then we can task the drone to go back and have another look or use the gimbal camera on the drone. So we've deliberately made a choice to separate our AI and have separate cameras there from the gimbal camera on the drone, so the drone camera can be used to be operator controlled and zoom in or go back for a second look while still maintaining a full visual automated sweep.
It has an endurance of over 8 hours, and we're able to operate up to 100 kilometers offshore and still retain that live video feed if we need to from the aircraft back to the ground. What that means is that in a single flight, the drone is able to cover a vast expanse of coastline and then to continually patrol it, ensuring that we keep really good comprehensive cover of that stretch of coast. So we have the flexibility both of a high endurance, slow, steady patrol, combined with that very quick sprint response if we need to get somewhere, particularly if there's a safety at sea or loss of life, risk to loss of life that we need to respond to.
That you don't have operators getting tired, so we know operators become less efficient as they get tired. With the extended platform flight time of this platform, we can fly for much longer than an operator could fly in a manned aircraft, and we can be much more cost effective and time efficient and much more accurate in terms of those longer term detections than you would normally on air, for example. The same technology can be used to identify all kinds of objects, so we could also use this for, we could train the database to look for, so for example, as well as boats, you could look for people or monitoring, for example. So you can use the system to look for changes in environment over time as well. So we can use basic change detection algorithms. And we also see an opportunity to tie this into work that we've done previously using Earth observation data, so taking satellite images using those as a primary means. So for example, looking for large vessels from space, you can then send the drone out to have a closer look, automatically identify them. So by the time you get to the human operator, you've already got a very strong, very good audit trail of what you've seen. That can be applied to boating and to shipping. It can also be applied to environmental and various other.
With our work in Africa, I've become increasingly aware of the problems to do with safety at sea and loss of life. And we seem to be starting to see that because of climate change and other factors, the local communities are potentially needing to travel further offshore where their small fishing boats, for example, aren't designed to be fishing in the deep blue. And so we're starting to see emerging, certainly I'm hearing a lot more stories of people that are dying because the boats that they're traveling in aren't necessarily fit for purpose. And because these countries are extremely resource constrained, they're not wealthy countries, they don't have sophisticated and comprehensive search and rescue or safety at sea programs.
So one of the advantages of using AI rather than human operatives is it's much more flexible and it's much more resilient and reliable. So whereas people get tired and they get distracted and they get easily bored, the AI doesn't. So putting it into a platform like this, which has great observational range and can be used over extended periods of time, mean that you can cover really large areas very efficiently. And because it's AI based and because of the way we've built our intelligence into the system generally, you can apply all kinds of different algorithms to it. So today we can be looking for boats, tomorrow we can be looking for vehicles, for example.
The challenges around fisheries, particularly along the African coastline, are becoming very severe and quite significant. There have been a number of recent newspaper articles and media articles about the problem of large industrial trawlers severely impacting on fish stocks within these coastal areas, and that's having a knock-on problem to the communities and obviously revenue generation and the wealth of some of these countries and the communities. And in particular, we're looking at African coastal nations, which historically, in particular, have been very budget constrained and not been able to afford to purchase airborne coastal surveillance and monitoring.
One of the things that really excites me is actually we're doing something that's really tough. So the technology we've developed requires a very high skill level, and it's very engaging for our guys to be able to develop that kind of really cutting edge technology and see it operate. So this week is all about putting this in the air and flying it and putting it into the real world and seeing it operate. So I think we're at the start of a really exciting journey with this technology and with this solution. There is obviously a need now, and as we help solve those problems that exist today, then we're able to have a meaningful impact. We're able to make the world a slightly better place. And if we keep making the world a better place, we leave the world better than we found it, which is really important.
SeaWatch will be available in two different forms. The first one is the equipment itself, plus the training, and obviously the supervision and the monitoring that would go along with it. Or secondly, we're also able to provide a service to the end user where we would actually be operating and running the equipment ourselves with our own staff. And usually what we would do is we'd look to train a local workforce to be able to do that. So particularly in countries where we're needing to develop local capacity, part of the remit will be to do that as well. Over the next 5 years, we see SeaWatch not only entering the market and becoming a live system for use, but we actually see the implementation growing across a number of different contexts and geographical areas, ranging from parts of Europe to a number of the African coastal countries, but also extending out to meet some of the challenges that the Asia-Pacific island countries and nations are facing as well.